17 was actually a song that Jim wrote at the time when he was like 15. He was writing it about a girl that was older than him.
17 was the first song I wrote when I moved to Mount Pleasant. I hadn't written, in the previous band I was in, Oslon, we had written, it was more of a Christian rock band, but we had written I'd written some love songs, and we had worked on a few other songs, stuff that became like Goodbye later on. But I hadn't sat down and wrote a lot of just straight rock songs. And so 17 for me, I was like 15 years old, and trying to write a Kiss type song, or just a band of the day, a Motley Crue or whatever, right? A Cold Gin or a Firehouse, that type of a song.
17 was definitely it was that, to me it was called Dr. Love. It was just that opening riff, and loved the lyrics.
And at the time, as a bunch of young teenagers, that was a pretty lurid song for our repertoire. It was kind of about a young girl. Her background was pretty suspicious, to say the least. So,
sat down writing the song. I was thinking about a girl that I liked at the time, and we were, I kind of had a crush on her. She was a little bit older than me. And I didn't know how old she was. I knew she was 16. I knew she wasn't 15 because I was pretty young for my age. I was a sophomore. And so I knew she was either 16 or 17, but she could have even been 18. I didn't know. So I remember calling a mutual friend of ours, and asking her, "Hey, how old is this girl?" And she said, "She's 17. I was like, "Great, that's the name of the song, 17. If she'd have been 18, the song would have been called 18. Or 16 would have been 16. So that was how the title came about.
The great part about going back and revisiting some of these songs is telling these stories or talking about how they came about. 17 was actually a song that Jim wrote at the time when he was like 15. He was writing it about a girl that was older than him. It's kind of funny now to go back and be re-recording and redoing these songs at our age now, and doing a song called 17, which at the time it was about an older girl, and it's about a girl that's much younger, obviously.
And I had the music, I had that set up, and I had the melody and the lyrics, and I was missing a chorus. And Kenny, to his credit, Kenny had tons of riffs. He was the riff master. I mean, he wrote so many just really catchy, great rock riffs, more than he could write songs around. He was writing riffs more than he was completed songs. Not that he didn't write completed songs, but he always had an overabundance of riffs, and he was very generous in letting people borrow them for their songs, and just give them the writing credit is what he would say. Just put my name on it.
Yeah, so again, 17 was a song that I had a riff, and Jim had heard it and liked it. It was, for me, it was a little bit like Deep Purple, My Woman from Tokyo, but it was like kind of a cool rock riff, and he liked it, so I think he ended up using it for the chorus.
Kenny had this riff that was and it was not in the key that my song was in. So what I had to do was I had to take his riff and move it to A and make it. And that's what I did. And then, of course, the chorus just says 17 over and over.
He liked it. I thought it sounded a little too derivative of Deep Purple or something, but he was able to use it as the chorus, which, looking back, was quite a feat.
And that's how that one came about. That was one of the first rock songs I brought in. Or I would consider it a solo effort, even though Ken wrote the music to the chorus. It was bringing a song in. The lyrics were finished, and the melody for the lyrics, the music was arranged, and it became a song that one of our earlier originals that we played, of mine at least, that we started playing, and we continued to play that song for a lot of years. And it was also one that we went to GM Records and recorded later on.
17 was a song that I was introduced to pretty early when I came into the band. In fact, it was one of my first trips to a recording studio. We did that song.
When we went to record 17 and When I Saw You at GM Records, that was the first time that Jeff Hamm he had joined the band. It was his first trip to GM Records, to the studio.
The guys had already written the song before I came into the band, and I had actually, we went to the studio to record this maybe a week or so after my first gig with the band. I had to learn all these songs for the first gig, and then when we got ready to go into the studio, they said, hey, we're going to go to the studio and record some songs. And by the way, you've never heard any of these songs either. 17 was one of the songs from that trip.
I remember us, recording it without him. He was there, but he wasn't on that particular track. And I remember not being very happy with the way the song had been recorded. I wasn't really happy with our arrangement. I wasn't real happy with the way the chorus sounded on that track, the way the melody was done. And I thought there was too much lead overplaying the song. So that's one of those, like many of the new songs that we recorded on the new album, there was a lot of that getting it right, or at least getting it in our head. When you hear the album, whether you like it or not, it's the way we heard those songs when we wrote them. We were able to go back later and kind of fix the mistakes and record it in the arrangement that we originally heard. So that's what I remember about recording 17 in the studio. Just it really didn't turn out bad as a song. It just was one of those that didn't turn out the way I heard it in my head. And the new album, the version that you hear on the new album, is very, very close to the way I always heard that song.
I didn't have anything to do with the song really, except I think other than the lead vocals, threw in the high string that I used to do.
Again, another example of, we had pieces of songs, I had riffs, and Jim had words, and Jeffrey had lyrics, and we were always able to bring them together and write songs with them. So it was good.
It was a pretty cool song that we did back then. We had a lot of fun recording that in the studio.
It's not a particularly great song by any stretch of the imagination, but it was one of the first rock songs that I ever wrote.
It was definitely my favorite hard rock song that we did. It was a different avenue for us, It was a lot different than what we were doing.